My name is Henry Habib. I've been at Concordia, Loyola, since 1960.
Okay.
First as a part-time professor, because I was doing my PhD at that time at McGill. I came from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and Father Malone, who was president of Loyola, hired me to introduce political science at Loyola.
Oh.
There was no political science. So we started our venture at Loyola. It was quite an interesting thing. There were only around 800 students. So we practically knew everyone. It was a question of knowing all the students, and it was a sort of a family arrangement. But then 1969 came, and 1969 there was trouble, both at Sir George Williams and at Loyola.
What was the struggle at Loyola?
The trouble at Loyola was a contamination of all the universities were wanting to have a greater say in the affairs of the universities. And so there was even a bomb scare at Loyola at that time. So 1969 was a difficult year, especially at Sir George Williams. The place was surrounded, the police came in and so on.
Yeah.
But we survived, and the university survived. And a few years later, in 1974, Sir George Williams and Loyola were asked by the provincial government to merge. They told us, if you do not merge, if you do not agree to get together, we might turn you into a CJEP.
Oh, the Loyola campus?
At Loyola.
Oh, okay.
And so there was a certain pressure that we had to negotiate. And I remember I was part of that negotiation where they sat down, and it was difficult because two institutions were different in many ways. Loyola was a Catholic institution, and Sir George William was an institution that catered to part-timers especially. And so merging the two institutions together was problematic at first, but then we succeeded. It was a question of finding a name for the place. At one time they felt that we could combine the name, Sir George Loyola, something like that. But then they said one of the two institutions will be forgotten, and finally they felt that the best thing is to call it Concordia, as a concord between the two institutions. And it was a symbol from Montreal. There was the arms, the coat of arms. And so finally we accepted the name Concordia, and 50 years later, here it is, the University Concordia.